Hey crew, it's Pitt, back with another typing video. Today we're going to do Jill from Whispering Willow Farms. It's an interview with Jess from the last show. The reason I'm doing Jill is because I have to address the issue with Maya last time. It turns out my app was wrong, and I did type him wrong, so I'm going to address that now, quickly, before it's over with. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump over. And this is the links page on the app. And I had him typed as in the ISTJ alt, but he is actually an ISTJ. Now the difference between that is that the FI and the NE are going to be flipped, and the FE and the NI are going to be flipped. If you remember, I mentioned the fact that he was direct, and it was kind of off-putting to me that it was the double extrovert. And that's because if you're double extroverted, you're informative. That's what happens. Those two functions play off of each other, and you just can't shut up. So Maya is an ISTJ, not an ISTJ alt. Still the same golden pair situation, but whereas he was child FE or child NE, he is actually a child FI, which means that he feels defensive over his morals as opposed to feeling defensive over other possibilities. The weakness is wanting to be well thought of and proving how smart he is. He thinks that he's great at knowing possibilities, and actually often misunderstands the possibilities and needs someone to help him understand them. And the trickster function is going to be other people's values, and he'll have a harder time feeling guilt or care for others. Forms covert contracts, which are, I'll do something for you if you do something for me, but I'm not going to tell you that you have to do something for me. And he just needs to work on being forthright and having clear expectations. He tends to undermine himself by not trusting his own willpower. He needs to figure out how to stand for who I am, for his own identity. And that's going to wrap that up. I'm not going to dive too deep because the difference between the T and the J is so slight, and we will get more into those later. And I want to get into the new video and give my voice a bit of a rest. So let's go, and what we're going to do is pull up the, give me 1 second, we're going to pull up the main, and we'll swap it over, and we're going to watch, we're typing Jill, and we're going to see what we can get.
Jess's interview show.
This is official.
Sort of, I mean, in a really unofficial sort of way. All right, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I don't know what you're gonna ask.
So I've everybody that I've like sat down and interviewed for this format of video, I have not given them any like preface of like what we're gonna talk about, because a lot of times, I don't know, we're just sort of flying by the seat of our pants here. We've actually done podcasts before for our course that we did. We had 6 podcast episodes are part of that course. So we've kind of done this format.
We're kind of used to on the fly.
Yeah. So welcome back to Roots and Refuge Farm. My name is Jess. This is my dear friend Jill. Jill also has a YouTube channel. It's called Whispering Willow Farm. I will put a link to that down below. And Jill is buying this farm.
Yes.
And we'll be moving into this farm in less than 2 months. So we're really coming down to it. So today I asked her to be on.
So far, Jill does not seem to be too informative. It's hard with Jess because she's starting, but we'll see.
My interview show, after I've been doing these interviews, y'all have been asking a lot of questions, and I wanted us to just be able to kind of share more about that, and you'll be able to share more about that. So this interview show will probably be both of us talking some. 2 months, T-minus 2 months. I guess let's go straight for that before we go more into the backstory. That's really broad. I just want to be like, what are your thoughts? I mean, you're moving
I know.
onto this farm. This
Yeah.
is going to be your garden. This is going to be your pavilion.
I know. It is wild. It was so funny because I shot a vlog earlier and I was mentioning how you asked me this weekend we were here if I'd like envisioned how I was going to lay out the house. And like in some ways I have. But like when I dream at night and I think about moving, it's this. Like what am I going to put in the high tunnel? When I walk through this garden, like what's going to stay the same? What's going to, you know, like change? And so this right here is what I think about when I think about moving.
Yeah.
Like the house for me is kind of totally separate.
Okay. So she's very okay with what is going on right now. She's not into the ideas. That's leaning me towards things. She's fixing to get into the house, and we're going to see how she deals with the house. I'm looking to see if this is a things organized thing, because she's leaning me towards things, but it's the same things. She's not trying to change things. She's not trying to bring in new ideas to the farm. She's trying to use what's there to the best. That leans me towards organized things.
From that?
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of weird because like I love your house.
I don't think so. Not for gardeners.
Okay. But like for me, I'm like the dahlias. Like, oh, those dahlias. Like, the dahlias are staying. You know what I mean?
This thing I already know about is going to be here.
And so it's like trying to think of how I'm going to
And I love it. I love these things here.
step into that high tunnel and be able to grow throughout the fall and the winter. Like, that's a whole new season for me. And so when I lay in bed at night and I think about moving, this is all I think about.
Yeah. I am really excited to see what you guys do. One of the things that I think is really cool about what we've done here, we've kind of shared this a little bit, but we really felt that shift in our heart at the end of 2018, and we really felt led at that point. And it was one of those like things where you just know in your knower. And a lot of people are like, how did you know where you were?
Jill said, that's a funny idea. She would never consider that. She's not coming up with that, but she enjoyed it.
Supposed to move. When you know in your knower and you really feel like the leading to go to a certain place and do a certain thing, that was the end of 2018 for us. We knew exactly where in South Carolina we wanted to be. We knew what we wanted to do. It was impossible at the time, and we came back here and
the difference between control or direct and informative. Jess is giving an interview of Jill, and she's doing all the talking. It's not a bad thing. It's just his style, and we love her for it. But it's definitely informative. Jill here is controlled. She's in her box. She's watching for the cues, but she's in her box, and she's only giving the information that's required. No more.
Actually, the next thing we did on this farm was build the window greenhouse.
Wow.
And plant the perennial garden. And it's just such a backwards thing to do. It's like, hey, we're going to leave here and like plant something. And it was always this idea of, well, we have to be legacy minded about it.
Yeah.
I had no clue at that point that it would be, oh gosh, we are going to cry today. I just feel it. I just felt it.
Love you, Jess.
There it was. God. I should have known. But like I had no clue at that point that it would be you. And it's funny now, you know, these things kind of tie together over time, but like I think of you talking about really wanting to build a window greenhouse and then deciding not to because it really wasn't, you know, feasible with your goal, but it was a desire of your heart. And it's just funny now to have built this saying, no, this is going to be important for the next person. And like I knew you then, and we were friends, but I just didn't know.
No, I think that is crazy too. And whenever we announced our move, so many people had commented because they'd seen me do videos in Justice Greenhouse, and that was the desire of my heart before, like saying, you know what, God, I know this isn't a right now thing, but I know you have this for me. And I've had
literally.
It's the thing. I want this thing that I see that is here now. I want it. Not judging at all the wanting it. But that's where the focus is. And it's not in a greedy way or anything like that. It's that's how she sees the information. This greenhouse is amazing and I want it. This garden is amazing, and I want it. I want this thing that already exists right here.
I've had people come back and send me videos and be like, you need to watch this. And this was before we ever even knew. And it was just like the faithfulness and the promise of that has just been, it's been a lot to wrap my head around. Like, just the faithfulness of this season has been wild to me.
Yeah.
Like, things, I went back and reread prayer journals and like specific things that I've asked God for, coming over here and like helping you do things too. Like, not even knowing that I was sowing into what was going to be my own.
I know. Gosh, it's so good.
It's crazy.
It's so good. So what I really want...
I'm also leaning towards self here. It's not about moving the family. It's not about us coming here. It's about the garden, the thing. But it's about her appreciation of the thing and the enjoyment of the thing for herself. It hasn't been about the food. It hasn't been about provision. It's been about the beauty, the functionality, and the thing.
It is for my viewers that follow you here to understand fully, this is the best case scenario for me.
Yeah.
And like you're talking about so often coming over, and I mean, Jill has helped us so much, I mean, over the years, like coming, and I remember being really overwhelmed. I guess it was last summer, and just so much going on. I was writing the book. That's what it was. I was coming down the book deadline. And like Nathan and Jill came over and spent a whole day like pruning and tying up tomatoes, and you know, like really helping us just for the sake of helping us as friends. And it is, you know, now you look back and go, wow, I was investing in what eventually I would have. And I think that is such a cool story. But for me, I did all of these things knowing, like building the greenhouse, and we didn't really hold anything back. Like, we made it lovely. We made it like we would want to have it. Yeah. And planting the perennials and doing all that stuff. And so for me, not only a very close friend having the farm, but also the fact that you do YouTube is really cool. Because I feel, for me, what we've built here with viewers watching and the relationships and the friendships being made, I also feel like I'm able to that they get to still have it. They get to still have something here. And I'm almost hesitant to say that because I don't ever want to put pressure on anybody. I think you like doing YouTube, is why I say that confidently.
No, I do, and I think it is, you know, that's something that we try to express to our viewers. We get asked a lot, what are you going to change? What are you going to stay the same? I think Nathan and I appreciate all the work you guys have put into stewarding this, that like we want to respect that while also adding in things that are true to us. And like one thing we shared recently on a blog is one of our dreams for this space is Nana and Malia drew and painted that beautiful mural, and like that's really important to you guys, and like we would like to really do something beautiful with that. And we would love to build.
We want to expand on what is already here and not change it. Like, change it, but not change it.
An outdoor kitchen and have farm-to-table dinners, and like that's a way that we could take something you've stewarded and invested in and make it special and unique to us as well. And I think that that's our goal. We're not going to come in and redo everything. That's not the desires of our hearts, because you've done so many things well. It's coming in, stewarding what you've started, and adding our own personal touches along the way.
And we've talked, you know, in depth. We've walked around the property so many times and kind of like brainstormed together, and like they've shared their ideas, and Sean's come and done some consulting, and like just all these ideas together, and I just know that it's going to be awesome.
So I'm looking now specifically for examples of self and tribe. She's things, she's organized, she's controlled, you can see her, she's always in the box. And she's not moving, and she's direct. Like she's giving the information, she's giving complete information, but she's not expounding. So now we're looking for a clearer example of self and tribe. I'm leaning towards self so far. I'm hoping she gets a little bit more talk time, but she's direct. And she's controlled, so she's not going to dominate that conversation in that way.
I think it's going to be so good, and I just cannot imagine a way that this could have worked out better,
Yeah.
as far as, our enjoyment and the peace of our mind to be like, wow, this really mattered. Everything we built really mattered.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what are you most excited about as far as like the garden goes? And when you think of the next season of gardening for you, what excites you the most?
I am excited to have the space to grow food, to try new food.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. She wants to grow the food, the things, to try new food for herself.
Like, I've never been able to put something in my garden that I wasn't, didn't have intentions to sell it,
Right.
or that served a purpose. There is so much space here. Like, I can dry food, like, I can grow food just to see if I like a new variety. And if I don't, that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, we're good. We're going to go ahead and do this. I chose her in this interview because I'm not that familiar with her. I haven't watched the videos. Like, I've only been with Jess and Maya for a little while, so I don't know them completely like you could ever know somebody on YouTube completely, but I don't know all of their friends, and I don't know all of the family and all the acquaintances and stuff. But I do know Ben Turn a little bit more than I knew Jill, so I was like, I want to do something with someone I don't know. So this is completely off the cuff. I don't know any of her history. I don't know any of her family. I don't know any of that. And so we're just going to dive into it and see how well it does. This has got her as an ISTJ. Well, I said we would get back into it. Okay. So that explains a lot about why she's friends. Her and her husband are the same. Right? When Maya was ISTJ. So the SI hero is going to filter the worldview through duty. Give me 1 second, please. Sorry, I got this thing in my throat. She's going to filter the worldview through duty, and she's going to see the job done and know that we do it this way for a reason. She's going to learn that reason that everybody is going to tell her the reason why it works, and she's going to go with that. FI child is going to be defensive over her morals. What she feels is right is what's going to control the situation. The problem there is one to be well thought of and proving how smart you are. NE, inferior, is thinking that you're great and knowing all the possibilities, but often misunderstanding them or inverting them. Not seeing the possibility for what it is, but for what it's not. You can turn it into a weakness by learning possibilities, learning what everyone else sees the possibilities as being. SE nemesis, the challenge is going to lie in dealing with the actual physicality of things. She's good at organizing the things, not necessarily getting the new things. Susceptible to manipulation by distraction. Look at the shiny thing over here is probably going to be an issue. TI critic is going to have a hard time organizing her own thoughts. She's going to second or third guess any thought that's outside of what she considers the normal. That doesn't mean that she doesn't have thoughts. It means that she doesn't trust them as much, and she criticizes herself over them. So when she does decide that this is what she thinks, she'll kick herself over it if she's not positive she's right. FE trickster is unaware of other people's values. Having a harder time with guilt and care for others does not mean that you do not care for others. It means that it's a learned skill. Some people just don't have that automatic knowledge of this person's going to think that's bad, or this person's going to think that's bad, and they don't really care. It's the trickster. It gets them in trouble. And work on being forthright and with clear expectations of what you want. An I demon is undermining yourself by not trusting your own willpower and your own strength to do it. You need to learn how to stand for what you believe in, and understand why you are dutiful. The dutiful is the hero. The demons and heroes feed each other. If you're doing it right, you're balancing those two, and the rest fall in line. They all need work. They all need to be integrated. They all need to function correctly and together. But the demon and hero really play off of each other the most. One of those two is going to take all of your energy. Figure out which one you want it to be and make that happen. That's about going to do it for now. We're going to wrap things up. I thank you for joining me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you like the content, join the discussion. Tell me who you'd like to see typed, what you'd like to see. That's about all we got. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Pit's Take. Peace.